Welcome back. Today it's a very special arrival at the farm. One that we've waited, well, since we got a farm. It's our very own tractor. So stick around and I'll show you what we got. Alright, made it back in one piece. Thankfully, Steve helped me strap things down. I've got enough straps, but not the slings and stuff. I mean, we crossed them over. I think that's still okay. I had the winch connected as well, so it was actually super solid all the way back. I have to admit, I'm a little bit nervous about this point. Firstly, I've never driven a tractor that's older than a year in age. They've all been modern compact tractors. I've driven lots of old vehicles, but not one of these, and those ramps look pretty steep. What am I not doing? Pull to stop, push to start.
Didn't you get a little tutorial?
I did, yeah, but I mean, ignition's on.
How did he get it on?
You just drove it on. This is not fun. This is not why I called you out. That wasn't in the middle. Now it is. Please. You don't have to both in you.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go. We haven't got any way of supporting the trailer. Am I lined up alright? Have a look.
Can I move this along?
Huh?
Can I move them along?
Yeah.
Oh my word! Oh my word, Tim! Oh no, okay, it's him. Oh, okay. Oh look, watch the front wheels, watch the front wheels!
You moved that one in.
I did, yeah. What?
I've been busy kitchen fitting today, but I've been granted an hour of play, so I'm going to see if I can get the mower on the tractor and maybe get a bit of topping done, but if not, at least have it ready for another session tomorrow. I'm not sure how easy this is going to be. It's also a little bit narrow for the tractor. Probably a 6-foot top would be better, and there's enough power in it to do that. What I've also got is some stay chains to stop it going side to side. If it looks like it's going to be a problem, then I can fit those, but I'm not going to get around to that tonight. Kid you not, that went on far easier than the Solus tractors. I guess there's just a little bit more play in the arms, but I didn't have to wind anything out. I could just lift them and up and down and no resistance. So they're all in. Well, there was resistance, but you know, a little bit more wiggle room. They're all in. PTO, fine. The only thing we haven't got on this tractor yet is hydraulics, but that is a future video because I've managed to sort out the kit I need to be able to add that double acting spool valve to this machine, and then we'll be able to use our side shift on here. Now the next thing to do is to lift the arms and see how much play there is here, because if there's too much play it could start catching on tyres and things like that. maybe that's the draft control. The only thing I'm missing are the steep sections, the banks and sharp turns, and that's where the arms start fouling on the back tyres, and that's going to cause some issues. And it's just here where it catches, which is why it's a bit black. So rather than cause any issues, I'm just mowing on the flat. Seems to stay fairly straight, although it wanders a little bit. So that basically just means that I'll be able to put the chains on tomorrow, and then I'll come back and do the far end where it's steep. But at the moment, this is a kind of an hour here, hour there, or 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there type project. I'm going to do a few more improvements as I go and as I find I need them. And the first thing to sort is the side-to-side movement of the 3-point linkage. So this flail mower is quite a heavy bit of kit, and when it's up off the ground, when you're not using it, or when you're kind of turning a corner, it can sway side to side, and what happens is these arms can then foul on the tyres, and that's what you saw happen last night. So what we're going to do is put these chains on. Steve, who sold me the tractor, had these two in stock and a couple of plates salvaged from another. So what we'll do is get these on. They bolt under the wing connection here, so where this arch bolts onto the axle. Hopefully there's enough thread there, which looks dubious actually. Might just be enough to go between, well, on those bolts basically. Well, I won't pretend that came off easy. One of them did, but that impact driver was giving it full beans and it wasn't coming. But anyway, it's off now. As you can see, that wing is held on by those. This is actually really solid. I thought these would be quite flimsy, but once they're all tightened up, these are actually very, very rigid and quite thick as well. So we need to get the bracket on. It was on the wrong way, so I need to take that one off. There is a left and a right. So basically, it's this way here. So the two holes are at the front, even though we're not using two. And then because of the angle of that and the crank on this pin, I guess that angles back to the arms. Right, one on. Wasn't too painful in the end. There's extra links on this. These are definitely bigger than what's needed for this tractor. I think the other ones are almost like a link either end of the bar. This one's got 5 additional links. So I just kind of hook them on for now, and I can cut them off when I've got time. Well, they're on. They don't look like they're quite spread as an angle, but I think it should be enough to stop that side to side. Fire her up. So that's better already. There's no way that that will hit there. So I just moved the draft control up just maybe 2 mil, 5 mil more at the top of it, and now it's gone up. That's the sort of height that we were used to on the last tractor, just for clearing hills and stuff. So that's this one here, which is more to do with ploughing. The draft control, more about depth I guess, but I assume that needs to be right at the back, as far as it will go to allow this to get up to full height. What I need to do now is dampen down. This is on the slowest, this is how quick it falls. It's still pretty brutal, especially on concrete. So you just have to be really gentle with it, otherwise it will slam. There's nothing wrong with the hydraulics. and we kind of fixed something. Now the other thing I want to check is when we turn the engine off, will they drop pretty quickly? Because that's not ideal. I'm afraid you missed that, camera packed up, so it does fall pretty quickly. So I just need to do a bit of adjustment to see if I can get that working, but the draft knob was definitely the reason for it not lifting high enough. So the final job for this evening is to sort the brakes, because let's just say they're not particularly effective, if at all. So the brakes are where this tractor is letting it down at the moment. They have been looked at and overhauled supposedly, but they need a little bit of either bedding in or just tweaking somehow, because last night when I was mowing, I needed to reverse down a slope a little bit, and when I'd finished reversing to the point I needed to, I was in a bit of a tricky, sticky, squeaky bum situation with brake on, getting nothing, putting the clutch down, it's only just going to freewheel backwards, and unlike a car, it's not like you can quickly put it into first. Well, it didn't let me anyway, and I had the implement, you know, I had the roller, the heavy flail mower on the back. I tried to kind of lower that down to see if that would, anyway, the gate stopped me, so that's not ideal, and that could have been a lot worse. Thank you to the world of YouTube. I'm on the other end of it now, watching other people's videos about what we can do about it. So what I've done is jacked up the tractor, it's up on blocks, and at the moment this wheel is off the ground, so you can hear the squeak, but that's because the handbrake's on. This should free spin now, but I can feel resistance, so that would indicate that the shoes are already rubbing. At the moment I've got no travel, so the brakes are just really hard. It's not like they drop halfway and then, so I don't know if it's the linkage or whether it's the shoes, but they're braking already, which would kind of explain why when I'm driving slowly in first gear, it kind of lunges a little bit. I thought it could be a bigger problem, but actually that's probably just the brakes catching on the drum. So brakes off. Tyre is off the ground. It's on the back, isn't it? So the slotted hole in the back there, a little bit like on an old car drum brake. We should be able to get a screwdriver into the star-shaped bit and flick it left to right. I can't remember which way it tightens it, but we'll soon find out. Just hitting. See if it's affected the brake pedal. But you can see I've only got that much. I don't know if that's more or not. I don't know if this makes any mechanical sense, but I feel like they're too close for the brakes to be on. They need a little bit more of a gap, so that there's perhaps a little bit more travel on the pedal. Either that or we need to adjust the linkages, but let's start with stopping these rubbing and then back it off. What I'm finding now is after I've tested it a few times in pressing the brake pedal, it's rubbing again, if that makes sense. So it's not springing back. I can lift the brake pedal, but something's not resetting. I don't know if it's a spring, because now it's rubbing again, and it wasn't before. Well, I didn't make too many adjustments, but they are now about an inch. Pretty sure there's no improvement at all. I'll try and stop at the bottom of that hill and you'll see what I mean. I mean, it's not that steep. Ah, how frustrating. Well, we solved 2 of 3 issues. Sorted the arms on the back. No, I now know why they weren't lifting. We put the chains on, so there's no side-to-side movement. So on the fairly flat fields, I can just crack on and know that I can turn corners relatively quickly without the worry of the arms hitting the wheels. But we have no brakes, which means I'm going to have to get the wheels off, get the drums off, which is not the plan. Not for a tractor which has been overhauled mechanically. Are you the tractor doctor? Are you here to fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah? What's wrong with it?
I need plugged in.
You need it plugged in? It's not electric. Our big girl is sharing the tractor shed. Hey, Tilly. Here you go. Tilly is due to have her piglets in 2 days' time.
I'm gonna have 6 babies.
Right, I've already mown the bottom meadow, but I didn't get much footage of that, so this is our first outing up here. What it really needs is some weights on the front, I think. There's 4 acres here. I'm not going to get it all done tonight, but if I start, we'll see how we get on. Damn it, I was literally trying to get out before they spotted me. That's not a good idea. Come on, you've got 400 metres of hedges and that to nibble at. Go on. Go on, boys. Go on, boys. Go on. No, don't you come over here, Samson. Okay. Bit shut. You're going to get a headbutt as well. Hello, lad. Sorry about the noise. I'm sure there are going to be plenty more videos on this old girl in the future, and there's a few things we need to do. Hydraulics, adding those spool valves, a roll bar. It's probably a wise thing to do, especially with the ditches and the brook there. And her name's Audrey, by the way. The girls came up with that name. My grandma's name too. She was a farm girl. think hopefully by getting something that's older, something that's just a little bit more kind of authentic and easy to repair, easy to get parts, everyone knows this tractor. It should be a good investment for the future. I'm sure you've got plenty of questions. If you have, leave them down below. Maybe we'll do a bit of an in-depth dive on this and how I came up, or how I ended up on this tractor, and also all the work that's been done to it in the past. But we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself. I'll see you next time.